They are both currently with Wakefield Council. One expires today and the second expires on the 19th of April, which is Friday. So from Friday onwards, Wakefield Council will communicate with myself to let me know what's next, whether that goes to the formal election side of things or whether it goes to any other options available to us in terms of co-option, etc. So I will have further update for Council on those post-Friday.
Thank you very much for that. Next item on the agenda is 11. To receive a request from the clerk and to decide a course of action on deferring any new non-urgent requests from Council 3 months to allow for all current outstanding Council actions to be progressed. So would you like to?
Yes, if that's okay. Thank you, Chair. So it's more of an update to let you know what's going on in the office and to create obviously a gap in order to catch up a little bit. So we've had quite a busy few months in terms of actions coming through the council, and we are about to enter into quite a busy period from an internal audit, compliance, AGAR viewpoint. Obviously, as you're aware, it's my first year in post, so as I am learning, it takes a little bit longer, so I'm sure next year will be a lot quicker for me. To give you an idea of what we've got going on in the office, we're currently in the middle of year-end close down, so that started on Friday and that goes into this week to get all of the financial side of things closed down correctly. We then go straight into the full internal audit. So we had the interim one earlier on in the year, we've got the full audit, and off of the back of the interim and the full audit we will have actions no doubt in place that will come through as part of an action plan. We then go into the AGAR process, which in itself I've had some training around, but again, like I say, it just takes a little bit of time. With it being my first year, it's really important we get that right, and then straight into the external audit. What I am seeing still, even now being nearly a year in post, is that I do have a number of old queries prior to my start date that I'm currently looking into for residents. An example of that is just the evening, as you've heard. Things are coming up all the time that I'm looking into, and it's important that we make sure that previous council actions are completed and progressed. Since post, the actions that have come through council, I currently still have 88 live. So that's not to say that they've not been actioned, it's just they're ongoing, they're progressing, there's things that are going on with them. So I'm moving those forward. And although we are completely up to date with freedom of information requests, we still have regular freedom of information requests come through, which obviously take time and need to be prioritised from a ICO regulations viewpoint, so it's important they do take priority. Those are just some of the tasks that we have on top of the day-to-day running of the council business, user groups, managing of the staff team for myself. We've got the Ackworth quarries that seems to have revitalised a little bit, so that handover will take priority. Yes, so we've just got a lot going on. It's coming up to a busy period. As the agenda item states, I'm asking for non-urgent items to be delayed, so I would still expect urgent items that are new to be dealt with because they are the priority for both residents incoming and for councillors that feel that they need to be raised through the agenda process. So this is purely for new non-urgent items to be delayed for that period of time only.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Can I make a proposal from the Chair that the Council, and the proposal would be that the Council agrees to defer any new non-urgent requests from the Council for 3 months. And that would be in support of all the work that's been having to be done and is currently being done and has been done so fantastically over the last few months. I might say that you've managed to get things really in line, and I think it's not exactly a breathing point.
So that happens for 3 months. What happens to these things? Are they just six and waiting for you to then have to do them in 3 months?
potentially.
So,
Depends what gets raised in the next 3 months.
Who knows, yeah.
that's okay, I understand
Yeah.
that, I understand the sense of it, which can only do so many things.
So,
Yeah, it's just the sort of definition of non-urgent, because non-urgent, because otherwise you could end up having this massive backlog. So what would be urgent and what would be non-urgent?
So from my viewpoint, anything that impacts residents' health and safety, all of that side of things is urgent. Anything where it's suggestions and ideas for the future for the council to consider, that could wait for 3 months. It's one of them, isn't it? It's a hard one to quantify what is non-urgent, and you know, I've been employed as an experienced, skilled member of staff, so I'd hope that I've got some common sense that I can apply as to what's urgent, non-urgent, and I can always put it out to all of the councillors for their viewpoint as well. If something
Yeah,
comes in.
I mean, personally I think it's important that we've got a real definition of because what's urgent to me is not necessarily urgent to Sarah
Yeah, that's fine.
and other residents, so it's that time scale really of response to something that we're really clear about, certainly for
Because if
residents.
the resident asks us, we need to, yeah.
I was thinking on the same lines really, and maybe, I mean obviously statutory stuff has to be done within the time frame, so that, you know, that can't be put into a non-urgent pile, but perhaps when we have agenda items either on the full council or coming from committees that require action, that's the point at which we could identify whether it's urgent or whether it can be deferred. Would that be a helpful way to deal with it?
I think if we accept this as a proposal and that each chair of each committee is aware of that, which obviously since we're all here, we're all going to be aware of that, then I think that filters out what is urgent and what's not urgent.
The other thing I was going to say is this is obviously a temporary measure, but what it does is it reflects the workload that either means we haven't got enough people to afford it or there's too much work, whatever.
Okay, so obviously we've got the office junior role in principle only. What I have done, as you might have noticed with the meeting dates for next year, a lot of the volume that's come in these past 12 months is the amount of meetings that we've had. And that's been unique to 2023-2024 because prior to that committee meetings were every other month and seasonal. So the proposal that we've just gone through, there is a reduction in committee meetings and the events, for example, they're seasonal, so there's not as many as what there previously was, which should cut down on.
I think my point is just that I do support this, but I'm just thinking for the future what we're planning to make it manageable in the longer term.
And we're obviously streamlining internally, we're reviewing processes, we're making things better month on month.
Okay,
And I think if I'm understanding the situation correctly, Gemma, you've already quite a lot of office time in the recent period has been taken up with dealing with previous backlog, and so once you've had a catch up, you know, it should be more manageable.
Yeah, I don't see this being a long-term issue. I just don't want to get behind where I am. I want to get caught up and move forward again.
I think that's a good thing. So there's a proposal on the table. The council agrees to defer any new non-urgent requests from the council for 3 months. Do I have a seconder for that? So, can I have a show of hands all those in favour of that? That's 1, 2, that's everybody. Item 12 is to receive correspondence from Strata regarding the requested drainage survey prior to handover and decide a course of action. Do you want me to read this or is it okay?
It's up to you, or if everyone's read it already.
Is
It's
everything
in the
read
pack,
this?
wasn't it?
It's in the pack in blue writing.
I only have one additional to add, if that's okay, Chair.
Oh, yeah.
So I did, as a precautionary measure, if you want to call it, I did contact our solicitors to see whether Strata would consider writing it into the handover clause that they'd put a guarantee on the drainage system due to the response that they gave to say that one is not required. I've not had a response back on that, unfortunately, but I am trying to push that it's written into the handover that they will guarantee the current drainage that's been installed, if that helps.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Just out of interest, if you said earlier that they have done the car park, has anybody had the chance to go up
It's
today?
done. Yeah.
Has it got any pools today? Because if it's been okay
I'm not
today,
sorry. Today.
It's supposed to rain again this week, so I can...
Right, yeah, it's just a visual check might actually at least be worthwhile on that one.
It's a bit on a car park in England that hasn't got a pool of water.
Well, yeah, but
Sorry, Councillor Bell.
I'll just say, so the agenda item is to proceed with correspondence and decide a course of action. So what actions are we considering with regard to this? I mean, we could just say, right, okay, we've read it and accepted it, but are there other actions that we might want to consider with regard to this correspondence?
It doesn't seem to make a difference between surface and foul water. That's the rainwater and the sewage.
Yeah.
It says they're not connected, they're completely separate to the drainage of the rest of the housing estate. But at some point, if the surface water will have to go into it, we've constructed a large underground tank which is supposed to drain surface water of lane, but that's from the whole of the estate. Well, that's out of the inside of the lane. The foul water would have to go into the main drainage anyway at some point.
Well, sorry. Yeah.
I was just going to say in relation to Sarah's question. So the agenda item that this has come from, this follow-up agenda item, is that we've requested Strata to complete a full CCTV drainage survey. So from that agenda item, they've come back and said basically no, they won't, because one's not needed. So the decided course of action would be in relation to whether we proceed with handover, whether we don't have the CCTV drainage survey, or whether we pay for the CCTV drainage survey, which is why I commented earlier to say that I have requested for Strata to speak to the solicitors, our solicitors to speak to their solicitors to include some sort of warranty on the drainage in the handover.
So am I right in thinking that if we don't get, if they're refusing to do the drainage survey, they're saying they won't guarantee, or they're not saying they will guarantee the thing, we're not...
They're not saying anything at the moment. They're just saying we're not doing what we want to hand over. So I've asked the solicitors whether they will write it into it.
I think until we get that information, we can't really, I don't think we can take any action on this, because if we... Sorry, Stephen.
Okay.
I just think if we sort of agree a course of action that we accept handover, and then it comes back at a later date, it can come and bite us in the bum, really, can't it, if we've not done the thing. So I think we defer this until we've got further information.
could we...
I'll take Stephen first.
Yes,
So they are digging up the drains on the west side.
Yeah.
Main lane, and they seem to have gone pretty deep with it.
Yeah.
Not whether they're filling them back in at the moment, but
Yeah.
what the problem is, I don't know.
Well,
Well, I do know.
yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, as a thoughtful proposal that would help speed things along, if we get a guarantee from them and we say that we will accept that. But if we don't, we need to defer and discuss it again.
So take it in principle, that
Yeah.
if we get, as a voting principle, if we get the guarantee from Strata, we proceed with... Is that
that's
That's a proposal,
yeah.
yeah.
If it comes through the week,
Yeah.
doesn't it? So,
Sarah, do you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, I agree, it has to be right, but obviously, looking at the note, Gemma's note at the bottom, it'll pose problems with regards to the elections
Potentially.
if it can't be used as a polling station, because, the lists are printed, and I expect the cards have been printed already and all that sort of stuff.
So they haven't said they won't let us use it, they're
Right.
just using it as leverage right
I
now to
see.
get handover across the
I
line.
see,
Yeah.
right, okay.
Well, Andy's proposal is that in principle we agree the handover date before the end of April, before election time. If we get the guarantee from Strata to that they will guarantee the drainage.
Yeah.
Okay, so if that's a principle accepted by the, have we got a seconder for that proposal? Okay, that's Caroline Hall. Can I have all hands in favour of that? Yeah, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in favour. Against? 1. Stephen. Okay, that's carried. Thank you very much.
So, did we previously use Buckingham Hill Centre?
Is that so?
Did we previously use Buckingham Hill Centre instead?
Yeah.
So there is an alternative, in theory.
No, that's. I don't think. No, we've not used Bracken Hill Centre.
We had previously,
There was
previous
previous
election, but Wakefield Council requested we use quarries and it was before Christmas, so we didn't have any worries or concerns.
Bracken Hill Centre was deemed to be too small by Wakefield Council. They had a lot of complaints about it because people were queuing outside and standing outside, so they said it wasn't suitable, Bracken Hill Centre.
I would expect there'll be quite tight guidance for Wakefield Electoral Services around, public announcements of where polling stations are and time frames and last minute changes and things like that.
Potentially that's difficult if we've said that and we haven't got it in any way.
Yeah.
Okay, so item 13, to request a minimum of 2 councillors to attend a meeting with West Yorkshire Crime Prevention Office regarding Low Ackworth play area. So I'm asking for volunteers, really, I think, on this.
Are we allowed to ask what it's for? Sorry.
This is a really old action, which can prove the point that I'm still doing old. So it's from, I believe, February 2023. So it went on the village, it's been ongoing for a while trying to get dates. It was on the village amenities agenda item in March. And the committee decided to open it up to all councillors to get it moving. So it's whatever crime was happening in the village in February 2023, but given what's happening now, I thought it's still relevant.
Okay, that's fine. I just didn't know where it had come
It's
from.
an old one, but still going through the backlog.
Right.
So I've got a date for that, or?
If I can have the volunteers, then I can sort the date out with the volunteers.
Councillor Nathan, Councillor Sheraton, and Councillor. 3 volunteers.
Thanks,
Yeah.
thank you. I'll be in contact.
Okay, right. Item 14 is to receive a request to accept 2 donations to be used for a village memorial bench and the supply and installation of a defibrillator unit for the Ackworth Parish Community Centre and decide a course of action. So item check 1 is community group. This is Ackworth via Wakefield Council for the sum of £1,000 for a memorial bench to be located within Ackworth Village to commemorate the 2020 VE Day anniversary. Check 2 is from the community group. This is Ackworth for the sum of £1,669.23 to go towards the supply installation of a defibrillator unit and its housing for Ackworth Quarries Community Centre. So those checks have been. We've got to accept the checks, haven't we, as a parish council? So has anybody got any thoughts about accepting those? Anybody say no, we can't?
Just ask who this is Ackworth as a group.
So again, this is an old action that I'm dealing with. They were an old community group. They're not currently in existence as such. But 2 of the founding members, as they've been closing down accounts, that's how they've wanted. I believe, someone might need to correct me because it was before my time, we were in partnership with them. They were friends of Ackworth Parish Council, and what money is, one was for the VE Day celebrations, that's obviously defined in there, but the rest of the amount, the 1,600 was what was left in the account, so that's why we wanted to contribute that. But that's as much as we do know.
I think obviously if we accept the donations, then the siting and the memorial bench will have to go to amenities and see to get further detail. But in principle, we can accept that we accept the money. I think that's what we're being asked to do. So we've got a proposer to accept that. So councillor Walker, a second for that. Sharon, all those in favour? That's 6 in favour, against? So 1 abstention. Okay. So that's 14. Item 15 on the agenda, motion requested by councillors. 15.1 to receive a proposal from Councillor Roberts that Ackworth Parish Council write in support of Wakefield Council for an assisted pedestrian crossing on Doncaster Road, joining the Ginnell from Orchard Drive to the other side of Doncaster Road, shortly after an entrance to the Ego restaurant, another Beverley Arms, and for an additional assisted pedestrian crossing to be considered on Barnsley Road on the route through to Hemsworth, allowing for safer crossing options for residents to local shops and amenities. This request is to be included within the road safety plan currently being devised by the Parish Council, and that action is delegated to the clerk of Ackworth Parish Council for completion. So we have a proposal from Councillor Roberts for 2 assisted crossings. Has anybody got any comments you would like to?
It's only because Councillor Roberts, obviously when he found out he couldn't be here today, he did say that he wanted to go through that. He said, so if, as chair, you want to defer it, he understands.
Well, do people need further information on it, or?
No, but I just think we have to do the proper thing, don't we, about
I
who
think-
moves it.
I think
It's
if
not
since he's not here,
Yeah.
he's at work, I think we ought to defer this to the next meeting. I'll be happy with that. Is everybody okay with that? Everybody want to deal with it now, or?
Is
Is
that not pushing it back though again?
It's just, well, I mean, I'm sure we're all aware of the crossing.